I think then the next thing we need to go move into is the big news I saw driving home from work today is Watson being sued again. This time for a more serious allegation. This one is an actual sexual assault, not like a sexual misconduct. This one is much worse in severity. It's still within the same statute of limitations. I think there's a chance it's going to land him on the exempt list. Because he's, especially with the history. If you know what I mean? Like with the history, the NFL they're not going to want this guy out here playing primetime games and stuff like that. And then it goes to court and like he's found, I know it's going to be civil, so it's not guilty or not guilty, but he's found liable. They don't want this guy playing this year, being on primetime games and that. Like I think there's a legitimate chance he could end up on the exempt list. And if they really want to dick the Browns, they'll put him on the exempt list for like the entire time this is going on, and he won't be able to play, and he won't be suspended. So then we're stuck. If he's suspended, you can cut bait and you get out of it and you're done. And the only thing you're out is the money you already paid him and the draft picks, which the money is already taken care of. We figured that out in the draft picks. We're back to having first round draft picks. You know, so, but one, it's not good in terms of, we already think like his mentals are gone. No confidence. I know Stefanski says he doesn't lack confidence. We're not fucking blind. Okay. And then two, there's not going to be physical evidence in this. Obviously the evidence we're going to get, I need to know after this date, did they continue to text for 2 months and go on 10 more dates? And she told him how in love she was with him over text messages and everything was fine and dandy. Or did after this date, she blocked him on all her socials. She blocked his phone number, never talked to him again, told 2 or 3 of her friends. Like that's the kind of evidence we're going to get in a case like this. So that's the details I want to come out before I'm pitchforking, but it's definitely, it's become a headache that is not worth it at this point based on play.
Yeah. And I don't think we need to dive into the full details of the allegations. You guys can go read it for yourselves, look it up, read the article and all that stuff. But just,
and depending on the evidence, which way it goes, like in terms of like, I was able to defend the past ones because most of these women were still texting him, offering to come back, wanted to.
The counter evidence was so like damning against them. It was like, this is stupid.
Yes.
This is just stupid.
So depending on how this plays out and the evidence that is brought to light, I don't want him on my team.
I think that's one thing.
Depending on how it is.
I guess we will clarify a little difference, like you said, between this and everything that's happened in the past. What happened in the past was these massage therapist sessions, and then these women were trying to date him and have recurring sessions, and that's where everything got a little
they told their family they enjoyed working with
they're
him.
like, oh, he's a great guy, I love him, all this stuff. So it's like that the counter evidence was like, this is dumb, this is all dumb. And this one is not that same situation. That's what makes it different, is they were actually going on a date. Like he was coming to pick her up,
he was at her apartment,
she invited him in and all this stuff, and they were going to go out to dinner, whatever. And
so that's
it's a little different story.
So the evidence, depending on what comes out, like first of all, if it's looking like he's guilty, the league will definitely suspend him and he'll be done. He most likely won't ever play again. And the Browns will be back at square one essentially. But I think there's a chance he's going to land on the exempt list for who knows how long. And it's going to be a Jameis Winston season, which at this point, based on what I saw yesterday and what Jake Burns saw yesterday and what Dan Orlovsky saw yesterday, like might not be the worst thing that it's ever happened to the Browns. I hope it's false. Mostly I hope it's false, not for the Browns, because I don't want a girl to have been raped. So I hope it's false, and I hope she's just looking to get money. But we got to get more details. It just got reported.
And that's where it gets a little hairy too, because it's the same attorney has got all the other girls paid. So it's like, it just, like you said, we've defended because it made sense to defend, because there was no evidence, there was no charges. It was all very, very fishy. If you followed any of the case, it was fishy. But I'm just getting fucking sick and tired of it.
especially because he's not playing well, or not playing at all.
Like you sent that text on your way here, and then like we'll talk about the Kadarius Toney thing here in a minute. But like all this stuff popped right before the show, and I said, "What? Like it's not even been fucking 24 hours since we just got our asses wiped with Dallas, and we got to come in here and talk about this stuff." God damn! Like
This person says, but the thing is, why now? Why come out now? It makes no sense. What I saw is she didn't come out at first because, first of all, I'm not going to tell a female who was sexually assaulted when to come forward because that's a tough thing for them. 2, she said she was going to come out then sooner, but she saw that the way that some of the other women were being treated by other people, so she was afraid to. And then so she went to them privately, and when they said no, then that's when she decided to come forward. Again, I'm not going to say anything about her or anything about Deshaun until we literally have no details except for that he's being sued. So I don't want to say all this way or all this way until we have more details. But just based on, it's different, first of all. So he's not immune from this in terms of the NFL. It's a different situation, right. And this would 100% put a suspension back in play. But like we said, at this point, it's just not fucking worth it right now.
It's just, it's too much. Like it just, just when you think you're past it, now it's something else.
And we've been the most staunch supporters of it.
Yeah.
And it's just getting to the point, like, if he threw for 400 yards, and I'm not saying you can rape chicks and then throw for 400
yeah, exactly.
yards.
Don't hear what we're not saying.
But we don't have the details yet. So I can deal with, if you're playing well and we have to deal with a headache until we learn more. Okay, obviously if it comes out as true, I don't care how many yards you throw for, you have to be gone and most likely just should be murdered. But like it's not even just having to deal with any distractions. Anything outside of him just watching film and practicing football is more than a headache than he needs to be worth right now because he's not playing well enough to be a headache.
That's fair. I mean, what you're saying is legit because in sports especially, we see this all the time. Like there are guys that Antonio Brown was a perfect example. Like what a fucking headache for the Steelers. But you know what? It was kind of worth putting up with the headache because he was producing like crazy on the field. That's just the way it is. And
then there reaches a breaking point where you get too crazy and you have to get gone.
Yep.
But in sports, you can deal with a locker room headache to a point. If, like you said, AB is arguably, he's like one of the better wide receivers, honestly, in like NFL history.
Yeah. Kind of look at like OBJ. I mean, he was a headache in locker rooms, but they dealt with him because he produced. And lately he has not produced, and he's been in a different locker room every year because he's not worth the headache.
Exactly. And it's the same with like what we've said with some backups. You don't have certain backup quarterbacks because it's not worth the distraction.
Exactly. Yes.
So we can't have off the field distractions. I don't want my GM and my coach answering all these questions all the time for a guy who had 30 yards passing at halftime.
Yeah, and I don't want to have to talk about it on my fucking podcast. I want to talk about the game. Yes. I don't want to talk about this shit anymore.
Yes. So, but I think again, that's speculation, but I think there's a real chance he ends up on the exempt list.
At this point in time, like, I mean, again, like you said, speculation, but it's in the range of outcomes. We got to bring it up.
Yeah. Why, if you're the NFL, why would you not put him on it? You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm kind of with you. Like, I'm kind of fully expecting it.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked the way that they went after him. You know what I mean? Like how many times do we think, there isn't anything? You had people saying there was no actual evidence and no, all this stuff. You broke it down, but NFL brought down the hammer. I wouldn't expect him to not do it again.
If he didn't do it, allegations are just, again, we've
said that forever.
Yep.
And that's why I said we need more details to come out. It just got reported like 45 minutes ago before we started this. So we don't have any.
We have previous history of allegations being enough to suspend.
Yes.
Because that's exactly what happened.
And the exempt list isn't even suspended. That's just exempt.
Yeah,
it's just like you're just like in purgatory.
Yeah, like we don't really know what's going on with you, so we're just gonna not let you play.
Yes. What's his Blake? Have you WQ? I don't know what that means.
Have you watched TH? The draw? I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
It's supposed to be all one. Blake, have you watched?
We're gonna need the rest of that sentence.
Help me out, brother.
Finish it. Keep going.
So, yeah, It's just not a great Monday to be a Browns fan.
It's tough today. It's tough.
Like Sunday can't get here fast enough to get another, unless it goes to shit again. But like, I almost wish we played on Thursday.
Yeah, I know, just to get it in and get it out.
Just to get this game gone. And so we don't have to spend the next 5 days talking about this, and we could just turn the page and just get to another game. Like if we can come out and take care of business against Jacksonville and look significantly better, and we put up 30 points and the offense is clicking, and maybe we send somebody in fucking motion every once in a while.
Winning does a lot. Winning will do a lot for chemistry and, you know, the vibes of a locker room, which,
I mean, defense comes out and gets 6 sacks against Trevor Lawrence. We win by, 14 points or whatever, a couple scores, and we just
I take that as a huge.
If we just kind of bully them up front for once on both sides, then it's like, okay, we're cool. But yeah, we just need to get there.
Yeah.